nice. 4.0. Okay, so I just put in 4.0 and I'm actually really impressed so far. I noticed it changed in my Q menu, my settings. I had this reassigned to something else and can't even remember what it was, which is funny. You know, I was in my last video showing you on the AF settings, AF mode, there used to just be two, multi, I keep saying multi, which was useless, as I showed you, and single point. I don't know if it was called single point, I think the icon may have looked slightly different. It's at the bottom, and that was the only one I used. You have these two new ones. What I'm going to do, actually, is start off, because it's in the Q menu now. This works the same. Basically, it's I don't really see a difference. I don't know. Hypothetically, it's quicker. I don't think so, though. I don't really think it's changed. I think for single point, it's working the same. And, you know, I still have this setting. What's interesting, and I just saw this on the Fuji guy's comment about this firmware, is even when you're not in continuous high, these inner 9 show white and the rest are gray. Before, that only looked that way when you had continuous high setting on for the, you know, for burst mode, because it needed those inner ones on, whereas on single point they were all gray. They didn't show the white ones. At least they're being smart and they highlight them all now. So basically, anyway, continuous works the same. Or sorry, single point. Here's this new AF zone, and again, you can move this around the exact same way. It changes these to boxes, and then the two command dials both do the exact same thing, which is change the size, so you can do this bigger square, and you can move it around, obviously. Small square, all phase detect, but if you move it around, it doesn't necessarily apply. And then this nice wider one to fit all the phase detect points, or if you move it around, obviously it's going to be off that. I've already noticed this is very interesting. Slightly more, there's a slight hesitation compared to the single point. It's not as fast, as you can tell, but it's not a huge difference, and it's kind of interesting that it's the double. Or multiple, rather. You know, whatever it finds in focus. I'm going to go now to AF wide, which they call wide tracking. And this one you can't move your focus point because it's sort of like the old multi-select. The only difference is it actually works. As you can tell, it keeps getting this pineapple. And if you remember with Firmware 3.0, with multi, it didn't work for nothing. It was terrible. So this will be very interesting, because now it will work sort of like what I want to say, like my old NEX Sony cameras, because they had a kind of smart focus system like this, where you kind of let the camera pick. It looks pretty like it could figure that out. I know this isn't a complicated situation going here, just my stove with a pineapple on it, but it's doing it. And right, so I just turned on continuous focusing. And it continues to. That's really cool. It hesitates before it immediately moves. So if you get focus and you move off your subject, it doesn't rack out. It waits, thinking, oh, your subject just went off. I'm going to stay in that range and not fly around trying to find contrast, you know, for the phase detect points. If I wait if I go too long, it will. So now it's going to be focused over here. So that's pretty cool. Let's go back to the multi, or what I'm calling multi, which is now called wide tracking, and let's see. Yeah, it works. Not great. I mean, it's focusing necessarily sometimes in the wrong place. Well, I guess it's not amazing, but it seems like it works. it really, it's like it's only using contrast or something. It won't take it. I'm squishing the shutter. Here, I'll show you. I'm going to press the shutter all the way down. Slow. Especially when you start to let it focus and you move. I'm squishing. Took a while. Versus I'm thinking, if I do that on the... Yeah, see this one. I don't know, it still hesitates. A little bit slower. Not too bad though. I mean, I'll just say versus, you know, when you do the single point. It's going to be immediate. Done. Wow, maybe I'm... There you go. See, usually it's pretty... See, it's pretty responsive. So anyway, this is interesting. I'm going to have to play around with this more. Definitely improves this camera, I'll tell you what. I mean, this is a pretty big difference. So, definitely Fuji trying to make this a little more modern, which is pretty cool, because they got everything else going well. I've heard it's supposed to make video AF better too. I'll give that a shot. But all they really need to do now, which I don't think is feasible, is make the video quality better. But I think that's probably a limitation of the camera and the sensor. So with the current 3.10 firmware, you have area and multi. I've never really used multi because it's kind of useless, and I'll show you. So this is on AF single, kind of racks. I'm going to move over here, and it's supposed to try to attempt to judge my subject. That time it did okay. You saw the first time it didn't do very well. Try moving it again. What I've noticed with all these cameras, including the X-T1, is it typically just focuses on the center point, even though in theory it's supposed to be picking your spot. That time this time it's working okay, but generally it just keeps picking the center, so it kind of doesn't make sense. And when you have this mode enabled, you cannot choose a focus point. So basically, I never used, to me, this multi was basically this useless feature that didn't work like other cameras. So with all my X series cameras, I've always picked it myself, and I'll move it around and pick the spot, and it will focus accordingly. Obviously the ones in the center, the 9 in the center, are phase detect, so those typically are much quicker, like that. With the X cameras, you gotta find high contrast areas. It's really important, and it minimizes the hunting. So that's kind of the current firmware. I'm going to quickly move into, AF continuous. Only difference here is it's going to continuous. I'm half pressing the shutter right now, so it just keeps hunting around, but it's only that one spot, so you would literally need to keep this box on your subject at all time, which is what the big change with this 4.0 is going to be, where, you know, if your subject moves out of scene, you don't have to recompose, if you will, and screw up your framing to keep them in focus. It can kind of let them come out of the zone, if you will, a little bit without it causing too many issues. And obviously you can, just like with the, the new version, this is 3.1, and that you can still, when you change focus points, you can adjust size, smaller, larger. And I have mine set up to, it's too dark over here to see it, but I have it set so that, what is the option? I'll show you. Here we go. Button setting. None of this is changing, but the command dial, selector buttons, yada yada. I have this set to focus, so instead of these main buttons being custom buttons, they literally just immediately move the focus point, which is what I always wanted with these X cameras, and it reminds me of my old cameras. And you know, you got it. So this is kind of the 3.1, and I really apologize for my shaky hands and my iPhone here, but I just want to show you guys how this looks.